Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ian the Travel Tech Bear, and this is my friend Ken.
Hello.
We're in Ken's condo.
Welcome.
It's small, but it's practical. How big is this place?
600 square feet,
Wow.
including the balcony, I think.
Yeah, it's cozy, but it feels actually quite spacious, given fairly large kitchen area that's in front of us, and then we've got sort of the living area. We've got a fairly big bedroom, which I'm sure we'll go into later for IoT purposes. So. So that's what we're talking about today. This is kind of the first of a series about the Internet of Things, also smart home stuff. So I use the terms interchangeably. Ken, you've had an interest in making your home wow, voice activated and everything. What are some of the things that you were curious about?
Yeah, like a lot of it, I like the fact of being able to come home and just being able to turn stuff on by voice rather than hunting for the remote, or if the remote's almost dead, or, I also have an affinity for multicolored lights and stuff like that. So I like the thought of being able to, change the lighting in my condo based on my mood, or, if I'm feeling down, then, I want to put on some nice bright colors and, try to get get out of the funk. So, it just kind of,
all the blinkies.
Exactly. Flashies.
Yeah. So about 2 weeks ago, I spent some time with Ken. We had a look at his place and decided, okay, what kind of things does he want where? So he's got a den, he's got a kitchen, the living area, bedroom, and bathroom. And we talked also a little bit about sort of ecosystems. Ecosystems meaning what voice system do you want to use? The importance of having local control, or being able to expand to have local control on devices, and also what family, what brands to purchase, leveraging some of my experience. I know at home I've got a little bit of a mishmash, mainly because of how early I started. I started sort of smart home stuff probably easily 10 years ago, I think, with a couple of Hue bulbs. I put them in our living room, never really changed the color in them because it felt silly to me at the time. But over time, things sort of changed, and my different devices that I purchased changed significantly. So I know I'm going to be doing a series about my home, which is fully voice activated and stuff, but I've got companies such as Lutron, TP-Link, Casa. I've got Google Home, Alexa, and also Home Assistant going for local control with Home Assistant. I'm using Globe lights, Hue lights, and some Govee lights. I've got Samsung appliances that talk to my home, and the list can go on. And much of that was just because of what was available at the time and what was quality at the time, brands I knew and trusted, and things like that. What's great about these days is we've got choice, and the different brands are fairly well known now. There's some which are cheap but really good quality. There's some which are, maybe a little pricey, but they're also really good with that. So, anything you want to add?
No, I think you covered pretty much everything.
All right. So when we talked a fair bit about lighting, which is typically where people start the first time. So we decided on going with IKEA. They just came up with their second generation smart home line. They have a really good hub. So this one covers Zigbee, I believe. It works with all the voice assistants. It works with Home Assistant, so we can get that going when we're ready. And fairly cheap, 99 Canadian, I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So they have also come out with a series of light bulbs. They've got white, they've got color. These are all the color ones because Ken wants color in his condo. give a splash, because of all the white and such. And he's got this amazing picture of volcano over here, which will pop with different light colors and things like that. So yeah, how much were these?
Black Friday sale for like $8 each.
That's amazing, and that's Canadian pricing. So that's extremely good, considering a hue bulb is easily $49 to $69, I think.
Yeah, I think regular price they're $14.99.
Yeah. I think I'd probably go with these if I didn't have hue everywhere. At least downstairs in my basement and then the globe upstairs. So for his balcony, he's kind of following something that I did for the holidays, which was Govee net lights. So you can actually get two of these. He's got two of these. Are they both the 9 foot?
Yep.
Okay, so 2 9-foots for his massive balcony that he's going to put up, and that'll make some really cool ambiance during, winter. The season right now, so Christmas or whatever you're celebrating, you can get themed lights, and then certainly during Pride, because you live in the village here.
Yeah. Halloween, change it up for
Canada Day.
Yeah.
When the Blue Jays win, they will win next year. So Govee net lights for his balcony, and then when people hang out, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then finally, Ken's also decided to go with TP-Link Casa for light switches and plugs. Tell me a little bit about what you want to do with these.
I was just figuring some of the lights that we can't put on Wi-Fi bulbs will have access to the Wi-Fi switches. And then I figure there may be some spots that Wi-Fi outlets might work a little bit better. Possibly like in my bedroom, rather than getting a lamp and putting Wi-Fi bulbs in all of it, I could just put the outlet.
Have regular bulbs and then
Yeah.
Interesting. So what we're going to do today is we're going to install the light bulbs. We're going to install the Govee net lights, and then in the second video we're going to talk a little bit more about the dimmers and the Wi-Fi plugs. It's pretty dark. You can see that outside right now. So figure we'll do this when there's light. Happy winter. All right. Well, let's get started on some setup.
Sounds good.
First thing we're going to set up is Ken's Google Assistant. You ended up actually winning these, or got these as a gift from work, didn't you? Congratulations.
Yes, 20 years of service.
Woohoo! So one of the things that Ken and I talked about was the importance of local control. And I know I've mentioned that a few times. So why local control? Because sometimes the internet goes out and you want to be able to control your devices. And if you don't have that, then, however, that takes a little bit of time to certainly set up and such. Home Assistant is fantastic, but can be a little bit painful. So we'll probably do that in another video. So we're going to start with Google Start Easy and then build up. And that's really how you do it, is start small and then just build up over time. Installing updates. The bane of our existence. So gotta love the fact that it's saying almost done, and then it's like 30 seconds left. And now it's saying we're close. I bet you 15 seconds. Or maybe it'll actually say it's done, but still.
Yeah, but the almost ready the first time was at 1 minute left. And then they did it again for 30 minutes.
There we go.
Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 6:38 p.m.
We had some real challenges getting the Google Assistants online. The big challenge was the way Wi-Fi sometimes work. Sometimes you have to disable the 5 gigahertz band or even 6 gigahertz band these days so that only 2.4 is available. And that makes it really painful for new people who are not network savvy to set up their smart homes. So I really do hope that the industry figures something out. And even Thread and Matter aren't always perfect and make it easy for setup.
It's up and running. Yay. So when you're setting up a device, typically it'll ask you which room. So we're now setting up the Google Mini in his bedroom. So for now, while we're using placeholders, if Ken wants to name the rooms something different, he certainly can. The biggest unanswered question is, What is Ken gonna call the next bulb that we just installed?
I have no clue. Dome light.
So one of the things that happens with different lights, so especially with these IKEA bulbs, you have to turn them on and then off for 2 seconds, then on and off for 2 seconds 5 times, and then leave it on, and the light starts flashing to say it's in pairing mode. So I get that with my Govee lights in the ceiling, and sometimes you gotta flick a switch on and off and for X number of seconds and all that stuff. So
Okay, we now have 2 bulbs plugged in. One on blue, one on white.
So if you're ever having problems either reconfiguring a bulb or having problems with configuration of a bulb, definitely search the internet for instructions. If there are guides that come with bulbs, some come with them, some don't. Sometimes the app guides you. Follow the instructions that way. We were playing around with some of the colors on the bulbs, and what did you find?
I found some of the hues are a little better than others. Greens are really nice. You get a really good blue spectrum. Purple, red.
Red's definitely usually a good
Orange is okay, though I did find a temperature level.
Oh, let's see what it's like when it goes down.
Oh, that made it
Bit
more
brighter.
white. That's really weird. That just might be the hue of orange that it's able to do. They have base colors that you can base colors you can set. You can set on a spectrum color curve. You can set the temperature level of the color that you've chosen. And then there is actually, you can do scheduling for
cool.
the colors that you want to have. So you can set them different colors, different times of the day.
Nice. So now that we've added the second bulb, what we need to do is we need to go into Google Home. And if you do I think it's another check for new devices, or it's another sort of link again, and the bulb should show up.
No, they're here.
Oh, it's already in. Nice. So it automatically added to you.
Add to my living room though.
So yeah, what happens is it'll show up in that sort of bottom area.
There you go. Add to a home.
Add to a home, then add to the appropriate room.
Living room.
There you go. So if you see, there we go. It's in the home and it's now in the living room. There you go. Okay, so now on to the Govee lights, and these are matter controlled. So what's the big deal about matter? Matter, remember that whole local control thing. So matter is local control. So if the internet goes out, you can still control, you can still control your devices while the internet's out, while you're still at home and you've got at least your Wi-Fi network going. So that's really, I think that's really important these days. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug these in, get the Govee app installed on your phone if it's not already installed. Nope. And then I think what we're going to do, this may be interesting because Google itself, I know, has Matter available, but I don't know if it's in the Google Audio you have set up. But your IKEA is all Matter controlled. These lights are Matter controlled.
Right, so we might be able to add through there.
Which was really also one of the considerations we had when we were talking about getting the light bulbs. So we should be able to, and here I am causing more problems, we should be able to get this all set up with Matter properly.
Perfect. I'll have the most festive balcony on the block.
Absolutely. Now time to add the lights. So
Outdoor lighting.
it's outdoor lighting, and I've forgotten the model. Indeed, it is the 480.
One of the big challenges with adding devices to your smart home network is every device is quirky, and every manufacturer has their different processes and such. So it can be really fun to try and get your devices hooked up.
So one of the things that's really important is naming your devices. So right now we're figuring out what to name the second set of Govee lights for outside. We're calling the other one Dog Park. And then what are you calling this one?
We called it dog park too. We were
Okay.
inventive.
Yeah, that works. I mean, I call ours like front yard 1 and front yard 2, or some seasonal 1, 2 for our front yard. But why is naming important? Because when you ask your device to, well, your home assistant, whatever you're using, to turn on a device, you're going to be using turn on dog park, turn on living room lights, that kind of thing. So, two concepts. When you're using multiple lights, like Ken has, so he calls his top and bottom, and because they're in the living room, he could actually say turn on living room, turn off living room. And in the case of Google Home, it knows to turn on those lights and turn off those lights. Or actually, correction, turn on living room lights, because you're being very specific about the actual lights themselves. So let's try this in the living room. So apologies if you've got Google Home at home, but you might want to mute it now. I'll give you 5 seconds. 5 1000, 4 1000, 3 1000, 2 1000, 1 1000, 0 1000. There we go. Hey Google, turn off living room lights. Hey Google, turn on living room lights. There we go. So the next question is, if I said turn on living room, what happens? Well, it also turns on the television because the television is linked to the living room. So that's why you want to sometimes be specific. Turn on living room lights, turn on living room to turn on everything. Now try turning off living room.
Okay, Google, turn off living room.
There you go.
So here I am doing the next steps in my smart home installation. I have my 2 sets of Govee net lights that I'm going to be installing here on my patio. This will allow me to create different videos and lighting effects depending on the time of year. So this is great because I can leave this up all year round.